Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And I gotta say, guys, as far as TWitWoW is concerned, because you know we do Raw reviews, Lucha Underground reviews, and NXT reviews, this has been a phenomenal week all around, because I thought this was a really strong episode of NXT. I loved how certain storylines were furthered. I loved how one particular storyline got a lot of TV time, a lot of showcasing tonight. I thought the closing of tonight's show was very strong, going into, one particular matchup. Just, again, very story-driven. We're heading into TakeOver Unstoppable May 20th. I'm feeling really good about it, and NXT is finally getting back with me where, oh man, I love it so much. So, Ashton, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just talking to someone about this the other day, about how basically for the last 2 or 3 months, it's really felt like NXT was just kind of spinning its wheels. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, watch these matches because these guys are good in the ring, listen to these guys talk because they're good at talking, and that's great and all, but it always feels better when you know there's some kind of an end game. And now that we know that we're working towards May 20th, the new TakeOver show, it makes everything so much better and so much more, so much easier to get emotionally invested into.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I feel like because there's a goal at the end, there's a manifestation of all these stories rather than it just being, as you once said in a Lucha Underground review when we were talking about the Drago and Aerostar series, wrestling for wrestling's sake. I think, the really good stories go so much further than that, and I feel like NXT is finally getting back to that point. So with that said, let's not waste any motion. Let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the night. I have 0 heats of the night tonight. I enjoyed everything about this show. I don't even really have any nitpicks. So what about you, Ashton?
Same here, brother.
All right, then. Let's roll right on through to our NXT review. And, brother, how do we open this baby up?
Well, we actually have a cold open. Emma comes out, her music hits, and she's in a match to start things off against Charlotte.
Yes, it's worth noting that Emma is still in Bayley's gear, the I'm a Hugger t-shirt, and she's wearing the headbands. She teases...
Yeah, I hope she at least washed it between this week and last week. Gosh.
Yeah, really, that would be really creepy. But, she teased throwing the headbands to people. Of course, she didn't do it, so she's really healing it up. Didn't do the skin the cat entrance
she
either.
Healed it up so hard in this entire segment. I can't even just say match because even her entrance was heelish.
Yeah, dude, I loved it, though. Because I know you said that Emma was a heel when she first came in, and I guess I just didn't really connect.
Well, I think that she was mostly heel when she first came in, based more on crowd reaction, because the crowd really didn't like her because she was this ditz that did this stupid dance and didn't even know how to do a freaking skinning the cat kind of thing. But now she's full-blown, isolating body parts. She is full-blown heel now. That back then she was kind of neutral, but the crowd just disliked her. But now she is full-blown heel.
I was a little tentative about this match, which I really think says a lot about how far Emma has fallen, because Emma and Charlotte are two great workers, but I'm like, how are they going to handle this? Are they going to make her seem like she's at Charlotte's level? And boy, did they ever. She was merciless isolating the leg of Charlotte. I love the psychology of this match, picking her apart, and it all kind of built up to this single-leg Boston Crab, which, of course, Charlotte, didn't tap out to. She got to the ropes. But I just loved how calculating, how incisive Emma was in her offense.
How mechanical.
Methodical. It really shows that she can work heel, and I think do it very well. And, yeah, I love this match. And really what I loved best about it, too, is I feel like they protected Emma as best as they could without giving up any Charlotte's credibility, because she just got done losing that three-way, even though she wasn't pinned. We have to remember that it was Bayley that got pinned. Because Charlotte hits natural selection out of nowhere. It's pretty much like, oh, she gets it, and then bam, it's done. Emma got caught, and that's really what it was. She had a near-perfect game plan, and there was that one hiccup, and Charlotte is so capable and so competent, that's all she needs. So I feel like both women really came away from this thing looking fantastic. And then the post-match, Bayley comes out, and, Charlotte's kind of lingering around. I guess she's wondering, like we all are, what's Bayley gonna do? And Emma's kind of looking up at her. She's kind of like communicating, I guess, remorse on her face, like, oh, Bayley, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me, I don't know what's going on. And then Bayley, opens up her arms, and they hug, and it gets...
And the whole time, the crowd is just chanting, Bayley's gonna hug you. And you just know Emma's thinking, oh, well, maybe I can get a hug. Maybe I can make this up to her, and she'll love me again, like she always has, because she's this innocent little girl that doesn't know what's best for her, and she knows that, I really mean well. And then, yeah, Bayley was just like, yeah, we get it, Emma. You're trying to manipulate me, but guess what?
Screw off, because she
pretty
hits,
much.
Yeah, she hits the belly to Bayley, and she stands tall. She gets her merch back, and
which is what really matters in this storyline.
I think Charlotte,
which is hilarious, because this whole storyline was made out of Emma taking Bayley's gear and Bayley being like, oh, I gotta find my shirt and my headbands, and then she gets it, and then on her way back to the locker room, she throws all of it back to the crowd.
Exactly, I guess because, it's kind of like a ritual for her or whatever, and she doesn't like that interfered with. And I think the bigger story, though, and I was getting ready to say to you, commentary noted, is Emma really trying to bring something out of Bayley? And if that's the case, even though she ate a belly to Bayley, she's got to be kind of smiling to herself and thinking, that's the way, Bayley.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yep.
So
Are we going to get Emma versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable? Because I feel like we will, and that'll be amazing, because then we'll have 2 women's matches on one show.
Yeah, and not only 2 women's matches on one show, 2 women's matches on one show, both with stories. That's crazy to think about.
Well, I mean, it's NXT, though. They wouldn't have a match on a show if it didn't have a story.
That is true. I mean, that's the power of NXT, my man. But, yeah. I do feel like that match is going to happen. We'll, see how it all plays out. I think NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, my personal opinion, is finally going to be Bayley's slow ascent back to contendership. I mean,
it's a really cool story, the way that they've told of her kind of being right at the fringe of that mountain and then getting knocked all the way down to the bottom and having to fight her way back up.
I mean, she even lost to Dana Brooke. And, oh, God, her.
Oh, yeah, but distraction.
Yeah, but, I mean, still, though, Bayley's got to build herself back up.
If we're counting that, let's not forget that Seth Rollins was once pinned by Heath Slater.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do think the rebuilding of Bayley, so to speak, begins at TakeOver Unstoppable, and we're going to see her as Sasha Banks' next challenger. Her final challenger, ain't nobody stopping the boss, but definitely next challenger, absolutely. So, we'll see.
Wait a minute. Oh, you mean because, you don't think anyone's going to take the title off Sasha?
Oh, yeah, because Sasha's awesome.
Yeah, so. I mean, obviously. Okay. So up next, we had one of my favorite segments of the night, actually, a video package for Becky Lynch, where she talks about kind of everything that she's done in her wrestling career. They even acknowledge the crappy river dancing gimmick that she had at first. They just did a really good job of kind of opening her up to the NXT universe.
Ashton, I'm really loving lately, and maybe it's more so with NXT or wrestling in general, but this lack of fear now of even humanizing the more heelish characters. Because Becky Lynch is no saint. She has done things to get to where she is. She aligned herself with Sasha Banks. She took Bayley out at one point. And yet, they still tell her story. And I think that's important, because whether you're, quote-unquote, a hero or a villain, everybody's got a story. And I think it's cool that, they actually talk about, and they're very honest about the fact that, yeah, I may not be the best person. Doesn't mean I've never made sacrifices. Doesn't mean I haven't been everywhere, busting my hump, trying to get... Well,
and if anything, they kind of justified her heelish tendencies, because she straight up said, she felt like she wasn't being true to herself, and she's been on a tear since her change in attitude. And, that's the most kayfabe possible way to say heel turn, is change in attitude. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, man. I think this thing was so well done. I love that the women's division continues to get this much attention in NXT. And really, the one person I'd like to thank for that is Sarah Del Rey, because I read an article a few weeks back that she fights hard for these women every week. So it's not just being a trainer, but it's really being vocal on behalf of the women.
And that's awesome that she kind of does what she can for them, but I think it's a shame that she even needs to.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. I think people should realize, in 2015, and with the existence of women's promotions like Shimmer and other places, that, women can wrestle and they can be a viable part of the show, a legitimately entertaining part of the show. And I'm just glad that Becky and Sasha may be able to go out and tear the house down and show everybody what they can do. And I'm very intrigued by this matchup, because we've seen Sasha, against Bailey and Charlotte, and then they've been, entertaining matches. But this is going to be different. It's going to be interesting. So, love this video package. I love the hype that Becky Lynch is getting. They're really making her feel like a contender, and I just can't wait for this matchup.
Yeah, this doesn't feel quite as out of nowhere as I thought it would.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it? Because I figured that her and Sasha would be doing battle at some point, and I was very curious how they would handle it, because I'm like, I need to be able to buy Becky Lynch, and right now, I do, and after tonight, I certainly do.
Yep.
So, great stuff.
They've done a wonderful job of building her up. Up next was the first of 2 Michael Cole sit-down interviews that we had tonight, this one being Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And he is a super douche.
Oh, I love it. I think my favorite douche in pro wrestling going right now. I'm sorry, Seth, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, that's impressive.
I mean, the Rollins cackle trumps all, but Kevin Owens, man. I just love how he feels like... You could almost tell like he's tired of giving the same explanation to everybody, because Michael Cole jumped right in. Why did you do what you did to Sami Zayn? And what I love is you could tell Kevin Owens is becoming increasingly agitated. Like, he is so done giving the same answer to that question. I did it for my family. I'm a provider for my family. It's not... And, he's getting sick of it. And he kind of blows up at Michael Cole here. And he says, I tried to show you respect by accommodating you by, doing this interview. You haven't even congratulated me that I won the NXT Championship. It's been 2 months, that I've just been on this tear. I've been so dominant. And then Michael Cole's like, well, fine, respect's a two-way street. So I will say, congratulations, Kevin. You worked hard to get here. And Kevin's like, yeah, I did. Thanks for finally taking notice. And, Michael says, but now respect me and answer this, and then he goes about, the history. You traveled the roads with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was at, your wedding, your best man. How could you do this? And then Kevin Owens says, look, I know what's going on here because you're a journalist. And I use that very loosely. You're looking for that attention-grabbing headline, and I can't give it to you. I can't, because that's not what this is about. And he pretty much just says that, you want a headline is that I'm going to still be NXT champion at TakeOver. I'm going to beat Sami Zayn. And he left it at that. So we're still doing this, where it's like, why, Kevin, why? And it's so funny that it's been this prolonged, because normally when somebody comes off of a turn, that's usually one of the first things that they get out of the way. And yet with Kevin Owens, it's like, we're still doing this. And we're still
Can I just say, though, at what point does Kevin Owens' lawyer step up and call everyone out for badgering the witness?
Exactly.
I mean, there's only so much a guy can take before, even if it's not true, he'll confess to anything.
I mean, look, he took Alex Riley out of action. I think we're all square. I don't understand.
I know, right? Exactly.
I don't understand why we're still giving this poor man a hard time. But,
he did a service.
Yeah. I love Kevin Owens' heel work, but I am kind of looking forward to when it can just be more than just him, playing up why he attacked Sami Zayn, when we can all, get behind it. Maybe that's why I'm looking so forward to, hopefully him clashing with Breeze, because that's a whole new abundance of material. I just can't wait to see Kevin Owens work with it. So let's get through TakeOver Unstoppable and see what the future holds.
Well, and whether it's Breeze or someone else.
Yeah, or Balor or Itami, who none of which I'd mind, but Breeze, though, it's got to be said. We'll see.
Up next, match number 2. Bull Dempsey versus Rhyno, a.k.a. Rhyno versus Tubby Rhyno.
Oh, how far Bull Dempsey has fallen, and I say that with all the glee in the world. I gotta thank NXT. I really do. I had legitimate fears that Bull Dempsey could have been NXT champion. and you've just taken them all away now. You know,
For what it's worth, we kind of had the same fears about Mojo Rawley too.
and they avoided that too. See, NXT, I knew you loved us. I knew you wouldn't do that to us.
Yeah,
But
NXT really does know who to make a joke and who to keep serious.
And see, here's the thing, and look, I'm going to phrase this very carefully, because I know you and I never really put a lot of stock in Bull Dempsey to begin with, so I don't want you, Ashton, to get the impression that I thought like he was some kind of big deal. But here's the thing, like, he went from a guy that, okay, like, he's big, and he runs roughshod over people, and now after this loss to Rhyno, which I'm not even saying in a bad way, because we'll see why here in a second, but now that he's lost to Rhyno, he really is just a bigger guy in a singlet. That's really all he is, because Rhyno squashed him here. You know, they traded a few punches, but then Rhyno gets the exploder.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Bull Dempsey is the new CJ Parker.
Yeah.
The jobber to the stars.
He really is. Now that CJ is gone, and thankfully...
I fully expect Uhaa Nation to debut against Bull Dempsey.
Oh, we got a lot to say about that. That's the segment I'm looking forward to most, but we'll get to that.
We've got one more segment. We've got one more segment after this one before we can talk about that.
Oh, yeah. But I do agree, for the record, just to get that out of the way now. But, yeah, Bull Dempsey, to me, he's just a guy wearing a singlet. Like, anybody can run shot over him now, because Rhyno decimated him. He gets the suplex, he gets the gore. Done.
You gotta say, though, the suplex was very impressive on a guy Bull Dempsey's size.
Oh, absolutely.
Even coming from a guy Rhino's size, it's still, I mean, that doesn't make it any less impressive that he did what he did to Bull.
But how embarrassing for a Bull Dempsey, who actually had the audacity to get on a microphone at one point early on in his NXT career and say that the children have been running the household for far too long, and a guy like Sami Zayn, who Bull Dempsey probably looked at as a child, actually went to distance with Rhyno and won, and Bull Dempsey couldn't even last 5 minutes.
I don't think you could even last 2 minutes. This felt like a really short match, like 90 seconds at most.
It did. And Bull Dempsey, when you put it in that context, you know, if he was to ever reflect upon it in a kayfabe way, my God, how demoralizing that would be.
Yeah.
Like, you know? But let's get to the important stuff, because we know Bull will never be classified as important, ever.
The important stuff is Rhyno, post-match, challenged the crap out of Baron Corbin.
Yeah, he says, because, you know, people call me an unstoppable force, but I've been hearing about another unstoppable force here in NXT, so I'm calling you out, Baron Corbin. Oh, snap.
Forget unstoppable force versus unstoppable force. This is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Oh, yes, but yeah, we're going to get Baron Corbin versus Rhyno, NXT TakeOver Unstoppable. And me, I'm actually waffling a little bit on this match, believe it or not. Like, you'd think it'd be a foregone conclusion, Corbin's going to win.
Oh, yeah,
but
I think Corbin is going to win, without a doubt.
I'm struggling a little bit,
I think you're only struggling because you're overthinking it, honestly.
Probably, but we'll see, because that's May 20th, so we've got, like, you know, another week or two here worth of build, so we'll see where we go from there. But, yeah, I
think we kind of just need to realize that there are some talents in NXT that are sort of disposable, and Bull is one of them, and then there are a lot of other talents in NXT that aren't, and Baron Corbin's one of those.
Right. But it should be a good matchup. Hopefully they, you know, keep it brief, because I really didn't care for Rhyno's, you know, prolonged matchup with Sami Zayn, but who knows? Maybe these guys will have good chemistry. I'm intrigued by this.
I mean, yeah, it's like in the world of NFL scouting, whenever we see someone that we would say is just a guy, meaning they're like nothing special, they're never going to really amount to anything big, we call him a jag, because that just stands for just a guy. And that's what Bull Dempsey is. Bull Dempsey is a jag.
Look at the education I just got, and look at the education Bull just got as well about his place.
I was going to say, you got the education, he got told.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Rhyno and Baron Corbin, I like it because it's a fresh matchup, and it carries a certain amount of intrigue to it, so good on NXT for booking it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah. And then my thing is, like, we were just complaining about Baron Corbin needing more legit opponents.
Yeah, and they don't get more legit than a former. Well, I mean, just Rhyno. I could go through the accomplishment, but he's been around so long. You know, this is the kind of opponent I think Baron Corbin really needs to get back in the game. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I want to see him get into the NXT title picture, honestly.
Definitely.
And I think a win over Rhyno might do that.
Yeah, it'll be the start because...
Or it'll at least put him in that discussion. Maybe not necessarily in that scenario right away, but at least in the discussion.
Yeah, because you could just hear Tyler Breeze while we're talking saying, "Excuse me?" So, but definitely in the discussion.
All right, up next, we had a Sasha Banks promo backstage. She's talking to... Well, I guess she's talking to us about the women that are up on the wall in, I believe... it's funny because I would assume it's in Stamford, but at the same time, obviously it wasn't because it was probably somewhere backstage at Full Sail.
Right. But I loved it, though. I love the atmosphere they created with this promo because you have Sasha Banks looking up at this picture of the Fabulous Moolah, talking about how she was the greatest, women's champion of all time, until she came along.
Yeah!
And she does the turnaround and everything, and I love it. And she says, Becky, you were my friend, and, I made you, and just like that, I can make everyone forget about you.
Yep.
And you say this is your empire, but in NXT TakeOver, you're going to need the crown jewel, and pretty much I'm not ready to give it up, and I'm going to show you who the boss is. God, I love Sasha Banks.
She's so good.
I love the confidence, and Becky Lynch has been on a tear, and we love the video package and everything else, but it's Sasha Banks.
This is like the dream feud in NXT, because realistically, these are the two best talkers and the two best in-ring workers that NXT has to offer right now.
Definitely. Completely.
And because of how much better NXT's women division is than WWE main rosters, you could honestly say best in the company rather than just saying best in NXT.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, make no mistake, the whole investment I have on the main roster is purely Naomi getting her due. But this, I have an investment in both women because I like Becky Lynch, and you and I especially you again, been championing Sasha Banks since day one.
Yeah.
So there's that investment there.
Right.
They're both extremely talented. Hell, Mick Foley, I know tweeted, when he saw the whole proceedings that went down tonight with their last segment, which we'll get to later, that he feels like these two can put on a match of the year contender at TakeOver. I don't think that's much of a stretch.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, absolutely.
So let's see what happens, man. Let's see what these two got.
Yeah, because, I mean... Oh, crap. I almost talked about something that happens later. We'll get to it then. Up next, we had an Uhaa Nation segment. He's signing with NXT, and he was in Regal's office, and he signed the contract, and then we got a little vignette, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, you know what, Ashton? I kind of wanted you to start to take the reins on this because you introduced me to Uhaa Nation. I know you made me aware of him. We've watched PWG shows with him in them.
That's a funny coincidence. I also introduced myself to Uhaa Nation.
So I feel like if anybody deserves to talk about this segment first and give their thoughts, it's definitely you because you introduced us both, apparently, to Uhaa Nation. So what did you think, man?
Oh, dude. I'm so excited. I can't... Honestly, the most disappointing thing about this is that we didn't find out what his name's going to be.
Yeah! That's a very good point. And you know what? They're probably going to do with him. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I just kind of find it funny. They're probably going to do with him what they've done with Itami and Balor. Just be like, okay, old name on Titantron, screen wipe effect, new name on Titantron.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're going to do the same thing for sure. I mean, I don't think that they're going to do... like with the last two, because the last two have been kind of the same way. Although now that I think about it, Hideo Itami's happened at live special, so they couldn't really do it. But with Finn Balor, they did that effect, but they only did it at the taping, and then on the actual TV show version of it, they edited the part out that said Prince Devitt.
Right.
So that was, yeah. I mean, I hope that they go the Hideo Itami route where they actually show the whole thing, but they might not because he's not like this world-traveled star. He's just a PWG star, from what I understand.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, I'm curious what his name is. As far as my thoughts on this, I mean, you and I, have we ever talked about Uhaa Nation outside of this segment on a TWitWoW extensively? Because I feel like, I know you and I have discussed him personally, and we've said that we feel like he is going to achieve everything that I think WWE wanted Bobby Lashley to achieve.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the difference is like 4 or 5 inches of height, which could be a huge problem because WWE values height so much.
Right.
Because I think Bobby Lashley's like 6'4", and I think Uhaa Nation's only like 5'11".
Hopefully, though, it's not too much of a detriment because Uhaa Nation is impressive looking.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome, and he's ripped. And he's not even just ripped, like Barrett ripped. He's gigantic. Oh, wow. I just looked it up, and he's only 1 inch shorter than Bobby Lashley. So maybe that can be a thing.
I think it can. I'm going to be honest. I think, and I know I've said this about other prospects. Some have been right about, some have been wrong about. But I do feel like Uhaa Nation is one of those prospects where the sky really is the limit. I think he has such a great look.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, you compare him to Bobby Lashley, but at the end of the day, the only thing that they have that's comparable is that they're both big, black, muscle-bound guys. That's it. Everything else, I think, everything else that you can possibly think of from a pro wrestling standpoint, Uhaa Nation has the edge. He's more charismatic. He's a better talker. He's got a better look as far as the face goes because Bobby Lashley doesn't have any kind of intimidating face in any way whatsoever, whereas Uhaa can pull off the intimidating facial expressions. And he's like a billion times more athletic, which is incredibly difficult to even think about because of how much of a freak athlete Bobby Lashley is. But Uhaa Nation is the guy that does freaking standing shooting star presses in the middle of the ring. He's a freak.
Would you say it's more of a fair comparison? Because I think I only likened him to Bobby Lashley. I mean, for those reasons. And again, I think, WWE had very high hopes for Bobby Lashley. And I kind of look at Uhaa Nation as their second chance, but better. But I think a more fair comparison would probably be to Cage, actually.
Yeah, well, that's hilarious that you said that because I was even going to say, Uhaa Nation, for those of you that watch and pay attention to Lucha Underground and or our Lucha Underground reviews, Uhaa Nation is literally just the black version of Cage.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that simple.
It's just, guy's a freak, and I can't wait to see him in NXT. Like, what's his moveset going to be? What's his finisher going to be? His theme, like the whole packaging.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, like, I know that this is going to kind of disappoint you if you haven't kind of realized it already, but he's not going to be doing moonsaults and shooting stars in every match.
Right, of course.
That's not going to be his finisher, like, for sure. Like, if it is, I will be legit shocked.
Yeah, I would be too. I think, and this may disappoint everybody else, and maybe Ashton would disagree with me, which may give you some hope. I expect, the typical power game from Uhaa Nation. I expect a very power-based offense.
Right, and you know what, though? That's the thing is, he's so good that it doesn't even matter that he's going to be resorting to only a power game, because it's irrelevant. He's too talented for that to make him fail.
So you're saying it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And,
well, I kind of already did say that for what it's worth.
Yeah, but I just want an excuse to do a Roman Reigns.
I know.
Regardless. No,
but he does have. I mean, that's the thing is like his finishing moves on the Indies were a standing shooting star and then a gorilla press drop followed by a standing moonsault followed by a standing shooting star press.
Right. So,
like. Maybe, and that's the thing is he can't do the triple power bomb either because that's a Kevin Owens thing now. And even if not Kevin Owens, if he ends up on the main roster, it's a Brock Lesnar thing.
I'll tell you right now, I would not be surprised if his finisher. Let me just kind of paint an image for you.
He's basically going to need to innovate a finisher at this point. Maybe he'll steal Weapon X before Brian Cage gets called to WWE.
Maybe. I was thinking his finisher. I could just visualize it. He gets a guy in a military press, does a few presses. Launches him in the air, catches him, and power slams him down. That's his finisher.
That sounds like a Bobby Lashley move, to be honest.
And that's kind of...
let's let Uhaa Nation do the bounce.
That would be hilarious. Dude, I don't know, man. I mean...
Maybe some kind of like a pump handle something or other.
You know what? Maybe a pump handle gut buster I think would be pretty cool for him or something.
That sounds a little basic, but we need to stop theory crafting.
But, I mean, that's why I was really looking forward to talking about Uhaa Nation with you, though. Like, this is the segment I was most giddy about because we've been talking about him for a while. And
Here we go. I'm looking on the Reddit thread right now. Someone said, not really a big indie guy, but can someone please tell me about Uhaa Nation? Best response, Brock Lesnar's strength with Shelton Benjamin's agility.
And that's a freak combination. I was going to say scary, but I think that doesn't do it justice. That's a freak combination.
How about horrifying?
Horrifying, yes. I mean... I never like to go too far on a limb and say, oh, yeah, that guy has world championship caliber potential, but I think Uhaa Nation just might be that guy. We'll have to wait and see. But
I think that, I mean, I hate to keep throwing out names of black guys because it's going to make me seem very racist because it's like, I always call people out, like, for NFL for comparing black players to only black players. Like, people are comparing Jameis Winston to, there's a little Randall Cunningham and some Jameis and some Cam Newton, and like only using black players when it's really easy just to say, oh, he's kind of like Eli Manning meets Ben Roethlisberger. But no, those are white guys. He can't be compared to them. But at the end of the day, I really think that Uhaa Nation is, you said Bobby Lashley done right. I'm going to say Ahmed Johnson done right.
Yo, dude, great reference. Great reference. Because I know how you'd feel about it, that tentativeness, given the whole thing that you just explained. But yeah, that does work, because Ahmed Johnson, you hear a lot of people say that was just a tragedy, because I feel like he was going to be that guy, to really dominate and be that powerhouse, but injuries really held him back. Can Uhaa Nation, with his freak
injuries and a lack of charisma.
Yeah. I mean, Ahmed, he just could not get out of the starting gate. Uhaa Nation, I know he did suffer some kind of an injury recently, not very recently, but we know that he did just overcome an injury and get over that. Hopefully he can stay healthy, throughout his WWE run, because if he can, I think I'm going to be very blunt. I think the only thing that could stop Uhaa Nation, if he could stay healthy, would be politics, because I feel like he could overcome any other barrier. Like, if he's not charismatic at first, I think he can massage the kinks out. I mean, look at Hideo Itami. I feel Hideo Itami has come leaps and bounds since he first came to NXT. I feel Uhaa Nation could be a similar prospect. I think the only thing that could stop this young man from doing everything that he would want to do would be if somebody didn't take a shine to him, and that would be a person of actual influence, and they snuff it out. That's it, because this guy's a freak, and I can't wait for him.
Yep. Man, well, I'm glad that we had that time to talk about Uhaa.
Definitely.
I'm also curious as to what kind of theme music they're going to get for him, because obviously he's not going to use the theme music he uses on the Indies, which is literally just a song that goes ooh ha ooh ha ooh ha. I can't imagine that that's even going to be part of his name anymore. I'm genuinely curious to see what his name is going to be, though. I hope it's not some, like, horrible stereotype, though.
Oh, please don't stereotype this show, man, because I actually liked what they did. Because we didn't really talk too much about the meat and potatoes of the vignette, but he was just kind of
and that's another thing, too, is that he's really well-spoken.
Yeah,
Don't turn him into, like, a stereotype WWE. Don't, like, he's not a freaking thug, he's not a rapper, he's not, he's not a freaking dancer, he's an intelligent, well-spoken young man, and
what is WWE's problem? Like, why can't a black individual, a black performer, be articulate, be intelligent, be passionate, be athletic?
I don't know, John. Why don't we ask the New Day what they think?
Thank goodness they turned heel, man.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that, like, heel or not, there's still stereotypes.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially Big E with his friggin' black Southern preacher voice.
Oh, man. But Uhaa Nation, if he befalls a similar fate, like, I'll be heartbroken, because thanks to you, I've seen the PWG matchups. That guy is too good to be boxed into some outdated stereotype. And
I know for a fact we've seen 2 matches of his in PWG in full, not just like, top 20 moves or whatever kind of lists.
Right.
And the matches that we've seen, Brian Cage versus Uhaa Nation, and then the Fatal 4-Way, Tommaso Ciampa, Biff Busick, Brian Cage, and Uhaa Nation.
Yeah.
And they were both awesome matches. The one match was the one where Brian Cage went to do a freaking lion salt and landed on his head, and that was pretty brutal. But Uhaa Nation, through both those matches, he hasn't had any, like, big mishaps or botches or anything like that. So I think it's safe to say that he's at least relatively good as far as his technical work goes.
I will tentatively compliment WWE, because we've been giving them a lot of crap, like, oh, don't you do this? And I feel like their introduction, it doesn't seem that way, because they actually said,
I'm not so worried about NXT.
The main roster, of course.
Right, yeah. Even if you want to go to frickin' Xavier Woods, for God's sake, he debuted with Brodus Clay's theme music, Somebody Call My Mama, with the Funkadactyls, like, getting introduced by R-Truth. Like, they couldn't have gone more stereotypical racist, borderline racist, I should say, if they wanted to.
Right. Hearing Uhaa Nation speak, about the past and how, he's here to do great things, and they're showing clips of, like, Seth Rollins and what he became after NXT, and they threw Andre the Giant in there because Uhaa Nation was talking about legends and how he wants to blaze his own path. And then they play this music. Although I love how the still pic isn't even Uhaa Nation making an intense face or anything. It's him shaking hands with Regal. Because nothing's going to send pangs of fear down your heart and spine than two of the toughest individuals shaking hands with one another.
I mean, if you think about it in a little bit more of a subtle way, that is horrifying.
Yeah. And then they did the whole coming soon crap, which I know neither one of us is a fan of, but hopefully it's not,
I just hope that they go the Lucha Underground route and reveal a little bit every week until he debuts.
You have expectations.
I know. I shouldn't expect them to put more work into it than they need to. And they made one vignette, and it's going to play over and over again until we get sick of it.
Yeah, but
and he's not going to debut until the September frickin' live special.
Oh my god, that's such a long wait. We've barely scratched the surface of May.
Well, you say it's a long wait, but at the end of the day, it's only 16 to 17 weeks of waiting. That's only 16 to 17 episodes of NXT that they get to play this exact same vignette over and over and over again, and sometimes even 2 or 3 times per show.
Really sell the trauma to him, Ashton. But
I hate it so much. I'm gonna be so happy if he debuts on May 20th in 2 weeks.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Just nice and quick. Let him show up, beat the crap out of Bull Dempsey, get over, and go home.
Yeah, Bull Dempsey can get on the mic, talk about his losses lately, how he's frustrated, how he's sick of it, and then
open challenge.
Yeah, something like that. And Uhaa Nation answers, and he just beats that ass.
I just imagine, ooh, ha, ooh, ha, ooh, ha. Just play it over the loudspeaker at full sail. I would laugh so hard.
Oh, well, you know the crowd's definitely probably going to do a chant like that, and then one of the guys sitting in the front row is going to be like, yeah, I am so smartened up to the business, look at me go.
I know what a heel is.
But yeah, man, it's gonna be great. I have nothing else to say about Uhaa Nation. I'm really glad we got to have the discussion though, because I feel like he deserved such a discussion. So unless you have anything else you want to say, I'm content to move on now.
Up next, let's see what I did there. Up next, we had our third match, or we were supposed to have our third match of the night. It was going to be the Mechanics getting another opportunity to actually do something on NXT television versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass, but the match never happened because friggin' Blurfy attacked Enzo and Big Cass backstage.
Did you just say Blurfy?
Yeah, Blake and Murphy is Blurfy.
That is so adorable. But
I've said that before. I told you I got it from AfterBuzz.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I've totally brought that name up before, and I just kind of decided to roll with it.
Well, I'm glad it didn't connect, until now, because now we just had this moment of awkward adorableness. So, yeah, Blurfy, which apparently has been a thing all this time, perpetrates this assault.
Would you prefer the Dubstep Cowboys or Team Thick?
No, I love Blurfy, man. I can dig it. It's just that caught me off guard a little bit. I think I really wish, because see, Ashley, this is the problem. I don't know if it was.
I really wish we could have seen a Mechanics match tonight. Replace Enzo and Cass.
Well,
I'll take the Mechanics versus, I don't know, Shoot Nation, whatever 2 representatives. I mean, bring out Angelo Dawkins and the big guy, Sawyer Fulton.
You know what? That at least gives me hope, though, that if Enzo and Cass would win the tag titles, which I still don't think is happening, then the Mechanics would be like, well, we beat you one time.
Come on. They didn't beat him. They didn't even start the match.
Well, yeah, that's Enzo and Cass's fault for not coming to the ring.
No, and clearly it's Blurfy's fault for doing the beatdown in the first place.
Well, they should be tough enough to take it. See what I did there? But anyway, I think my problem with this whole beatdown...
Alex Riley.
Oh, that jobber. I can't wait to get to him, too. But I was, look at us. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But what I'm trying to say is, I think what I was really looking for, and I was a little irked that it didn't happen because they did that whole tease, I guess, for no reason, which is something that bothers me about the WWE. Unlike Lucha Underground, yeah, you're going to keep hearing us say it. They're awesome. No Alexa Bliss. I would have loved if she attacked Carmella or something.
I know. It would have been so good if she would have been there with Blurfy and been like, yeah, eat it, bitch.
Or at least, because she's like, guys, stop it, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my god, Carmella, it's happening, you can't do anything, you're powerless in this situation, just
Well, and
deal.
that's the crappy thing, is that she didn't even try to do anything. Like, whatever happened to strong, independent women that don't need no man?
Yeah, but Ashton, she couldn't break a nail now, could she?
Yeah, I guess Carmella is one of the more, stereotypical female, like, really over-the-top feminine, can't get any kind of physicality going. Although, you know what, she's good at, well, I shouldn't say good, she's really aggressive in the ring, though.
Yeah, in the ring, and then when
I
her
guess
friends
against other females.
Yeah, and then when her friends are being assaulted, she's surprisingly meek. But I would have
Well,
loved...
I wouldn't go as far as to say meek, because she was really obnoxious and yelling.
Yeah, she was obnoxious, but she didn't lift a finger to help.
So
yeah, that obnoxiousness really went a long way in helping those wounds for Enzo and Cass. But if I was Blurfy, I would have loved if they would have gotten in her face and been like, oh yeah, and Carmella, we've moved on. And even if you didn't want to show Alexa Bliss, just kind of tease, yeah, we're done listening to you, we're done trying to win you over. You want to stick with
better
these
yet, show them walking away, and then Alexa Bliss is there, and they hook arms.
Yeah, just something, man. It's like, don't show us Alexa Bliss potentially doing something interesting, and then have no follow-up when Blake and Murphy
Although,
something.
another option would be, they could, because Carmella didn't actually do anything, they could have it play out where she secretly told them where Enzo and Big Cass are going to be making their entrance so that they could do that, and she's been behind them the whole time.
That's true. Maybe Alexa Bliss was just something to confuse us and be like, oh no,
she's a red herring.
I know. Yeah. Good, great, very clutch with the word choice there. But yeah, maybe that's all the purpose that she was meant to serve in that particular vein.
Oh man,
I don't know. Let's just get done.
Alexa red herring Bliss.
That was a bit too wordy for my taste, but let's just get to take over Unstoppable and have the champs retain their titles.
Yeah, up next, what happened next? Sami Zayn, sit-down interview with Michael Cole. John, I'll let you take this.
Yeah, pretty much. Michael Cole asks, how he's feeling, and, Kevin Owens says this isn't personal, and what do you think, is it personal for you? And then Sami Zayn says, well, unlike Kevin Owens, I'm not a liar, so of course it's personal. And, he of course talks about his history with Kevin Owens and how, he's just looking to get back the NXT championship. Kevin Owens took it from Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn said he worked, long and hard for that. And, he hasn't forgotten, and it's been on his mind, and he just wants to get back there. Michael Cole, asked, why do you think Kevin Owens did it? He says, for his family, this and that. Do you believe that? And he said, no, I know it was personal. I try and figure out why. I've asked him in the ring. I've done whatever. And then he looks in the camera and he says, Kevin, this is right at you. Next week, our match at TakeOver is already set, so I'm not looking to fight because we're going to fight at TakeOver, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm just going to ask you point blank to your face, why? And you can settle it once and for all. And you talk about being a family man. Why don't you be a role model to your kid and be honest with me? So, yeah, he's going places there with Kevin Owens.
Can I just say, though, I feel like they're making a mountain out of a molehill with this whole thing. Like, we get it. He maybe took the title match a little too far, but, you weren't going to give up. And he knew that, so he had to do what he could to make sure that he got the title. Like, I don't know, like, that's my thing, is that, like, everyone's putting all this pressure on Kevin Owens as if it's a given fact. Like, he overstepped some boundary. Like, he freaking went to Sami Zayn's house and punched him in the face there. But no, it's like everything happened in the ring. Everything happened in the match. It's not like he waited for the match to be over to, like, go grab Sami Zayn and powerbomb him onto the apron. He did that 2 months prior, but still.
I love your delivery of that whole thing, though. It's like, Sammy, I know he powerbombed you to the point where you got taken away on a stretcher, but maybe you should have been pinned. That's...
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, seriously, maybe he should have just not kicked out that last time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Classic victim blaming here. But,
victim blame your face.
Oh, really? At work? Okay. But, oh god, I need to compose myself. dude, I do have to say, like, in all sincerity,
Said
I
at
do,
work.
I do see where you're coming from, because for me, it's kind of like I mentioned in Kevin Owens' segment with Michael Cole. Normally, when a heel has a turn of this magnitude, the preceding week they give their explanation.
Right.
They've drug it out so long. Like, I don't even care anymore. I don't even really mean that in a bad way. Like, oh my god,
Well,
you
no,
guys.
but that's kind of I'm saying in a little bit more of a douchey way, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say too, is that
Right.
this happened 3 months ago and you're still on it like he stole your freaking livelihood away or something. We get that you're getting paid less because you don't have the title, but he didn't take your job away from you. It's not like you went 3 weeks without pay because you were on the shelf for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if anything, Sami probably did more damage to himself, injuring his shoulder, but that's neither here nor there,
Yeah, injuring his shoulder while trying to get the crowd hyped up. Way to go, Sami.
Yeah, he pulled an Orton. I mean, I thought it couldn't get any worse when Orton injured himself doing his taunt, but...
I mean, if you ever watch the NFL, he pulled a Stephen Tulloch.
Oh,
I know you're not familiar with that, but you know how Aaron Rodgers does the discount double check celebration?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Tulloch sacked him and went to do that and tore his ACL during the celebration.
Well, that's what you get for being a douche. But actually, Ashton, we should... I do want to touch on that very quickly, you know, this whole Sami Zayn injury, because I don't know if you read the same thing, but their out might be that the winner of the triple threat match, Itami, Breeze, and Balor, may get the title shot that same night.
But here's the thing. I think Sami's going to be good to go. Because I was doing a lot of looking into this on Reddit and, you know, that kind of thing. And to me, it's 2 or 3 things. First of all, Sami Zayn's injury is absolutely perfect for the main roster because they can say Sami Zayn was injured and he doesn't need to have actually, like, that doesn't have to have been his official main roster debut.
Right.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but the plates and the Titantron and everything still said NXT rather than being just him and being like his WWE main roster kind of package.
Right.
So that tells me that no, they weren't planning on it being him staying on the main roster anyway. So this works out even better because now they can use the excuse that he hurt himself.
Right.
Or that John Cena hurt him, I guess you could say.
Right.
And that automatically creates a story for him and John Cena to feud when he does show up on the main roster, whenever that may be. But then on top of that, I was reading, and apparently, depending on the severity, if it was a dislocation, if the shoulder's dislocated, depending on the severity, I mean, the least severe shoulder injuries take less than a week to heal from, or shoulder dislocations, I should say. And then the next stage up from the least severe takes 2 to 3 weeks to heal from. So even if it was the middle stage of severity of a dislocated shoulder, he should still be back and healthy and cleared in time for that match.
All right.
And the worst case scenario, it's, I think, like a 3-month thing.
Right, and see, I had seen 3 months as well in the worst case, which
right.
I'm hoping. I don't think it would be the worst case for Sami, but then again,
right. Well, I mean, you would think if it was that bad, you would think that he probably wouldn't have been able to finish the match, and they still went quite a bit after the ref checked on him.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. The only upside, because we always try and look at the positives here, if Sami Zayn couldn't go, just preparing for that possibility, what a freaking, even if it would be Tyler Breeze that would come out on top in the triple threat,
yeah.
I think he would get a very big advantage of doing 2 matches in one night and really taking Kevin Owens to distance. So I feel like it definitely creates.
And then you have a built-in excuse for him losing too.
Exactly. So really, we still have a very positive out if Sami Zayn can't go. Obviously, I don't want that to happen because
right.
the prospect
We
of
still want Sami because, frankly, the sooner Sami loses his rematch with Kevin Owens, the sooner he can get officially called up to the main roster.
and finish his beef with Cena. So,
yeah.
But that's all I wanted to say about that. We can move on to the next segment.
Next segment is the first ever in WWE history. Now, I want to add an asterisk here. To my knowledge, the first ever women's championship contract signing.
I'm just, now that you've said it, I'm just waiting for us to get schooled in the comments. Just somebody being like, well, on the Raw of 99 in March, you know.
Trish Stratus and Terry Runnels.
What a random reference. but yeah, to our knowledge.
Victoria and Ivory.
Oh, yeah, oh my God.
I think I'm mixing up my generations, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
I might as well be saying Ashley Massaro and Sunny.
Oh my God, that's so funny on so many levels.
I know, that's because they're actually feuding.
Oh, what's happening right now? We're breaking the fourth wall.
Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing?
But yeah, Regal presents the NXT Women's Championship contract signing. Becky Lynch comes out first. Shakes Regal's hand. Then Sasha Banks comes out. Becky Lynch actually gets a nice pop, it should be noted. Crowd seems pro Becky, at least for this segment. Sasha gets more of a mixed reaction, but I'd say it was more negative, more heelish.
I would say Sasha has fewer fans, but the fans that she does have are more passionate.
Yeah, buddy. So they're both in the ring. Regal, says, to Becky, just sign the contract, it'll be official. Becky takes the contract. Now, here's the thing. I've enjoyed Becky's mic work, and I enjoyed it here. I don't know if she was intentionally, having a rough time getting out of the gate, because it seemed like she was struggling to find the words to really start this promo. It seemed like she's kind of all over the place. Maybe she just wanted to kind of sell that she's so overwhelmed by this moment to finally be here.
That's kind of what I interpreted it as, because I was confused when you were saying that she was having trouble getting out of the gates. I was like, really? It seemed like she did pretty well to me.
Yeah, it just seemed a little off at the start, and then I loved her.
But it was a great promo.
Oh yeah.
Great
especially
story about her past.
Definitely talked about how she worked in just gyms that just had nothing but 3 mats in Ireland. Then she went to England. Then she went to Japan. She said, I made mistakes, but I've also made sacrifices. I did this. She said, I was even a flight attendant, for God's sakes. I've done everything to get here. And then I loved her punctuating line. She says, Sasha, I didn't come to NXT to take part. I came to take over. Oh, show reference.
Drop the mic, walk away.
And then she signs the contract. And then, though, despite all of the verbiage in that promo, Sasha's just looking at her like, I wonder what I'm going to do after this. Yeah, Becky's still talking. And then, when she's done, just kind of looks at her, looks at the contract, looks at the pen that Regal handed her. I don't need a pen. And then she breaks out her own stamp.
The boss stamp.
I love it, man. I love it. It's even little things like that. Who would think to do that? But of course, Sasha
I'll tell you
Banks.
who. Yeah, I was going to say, I'll tell you who. Sasha freaking Banks.
Yeah, I was glad you even said freaking, because I'm like, no. Redact. Sasha freaking Banks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had to insert a little Percy Watson in there.
Damn right you did.
Whatever happened to him anyway? I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. Continue.
But yeah, she really great stuff here from Sasha. And then she tosses the contract to Becky, punches her in the face, and pretty much humiliates her in the beginning. And I'll be honest, Ashton, I'm gonna level with you. This was close to being a heat of the night for me, because I think we've made an exception for the women of NXT because they've been so consistently great. We've decided that, yeah, they should be open to criticism. Because I'm like, oh man, I don't want to, because Sasha's already so credible in my eyes. I don't want them to make Becky Lynch look like a joke. This is the final push before the show. We really need to believe Becky Lynch can win. And here's Sasha Banks. She's even standing on the contract table with Becky's hair under her boot and just saying, I made her. And she's making these wild gestures and holding up the title. And it was great imagery. Don't get me wrong, it was great imagery. And then she shoves Becky to the floor, and then she even intimidates the refs by flipping the table over, because Sasha Banks
knows how to awesome, because every contract signing needs a table flip.
Exactly.
And Sasha Banks understands the rules.
Hashtag veteran. But then she's walking over to Becky, I guess, to put the final touches on her assault, and Becky catches her arm, and she gets her in that arm submission she used last week.
Dude, this moment right here, if this match is going to have more moments like this, I think Match of the Year contender is an understatement, because, oh my god, this was amazing.
I'm gonna give this match the biggest vote of confidence I can. I see this match not in terms of quality, and I want to be understood perfectly, but I do think it's gonna have that Benoit Angle type of moment where they're just trading submission holds. It'll be bank statement to armbar, back to bank statement, back to armbar. And it's going to be crazy. I do think there's going to be a sequence in this match where submissions get traded off, and I am just going to be so into it. I'm just going to be like, just zoned in, like, oh my god.
I can't wait to do live reactions to this show. It's going to be so good.
Oh, I'm amped. I am amped. It's going to be great. And then
Are
Becky,
you AMPED or AMP apostrophe D?
You know what? I'm feeling it. I am AMP apostrophe D.
Oh, snap.
But I think what really made it too, because Becky did actually, with the whole hold, everything went off, flawlessly and fluidly. But again, and I hate to make this all about Sasha, but I loved her facial expression when she got caught and she was tapping out.
Yep.
Because, she was intimidated. Like, oh my god.
What have I created?
I may have made her, but I forgot that she has free will, and now she's decided to direct it towards kicking my ass. That's pretty bad. And yeah, just the fear in Sasha's eyes, that sold the match for me, because
that's what makes her so good, though, dude, is like, and I think that this is almost like a consensus at this point. What makes her great isn't necessarily what she does. It's what she does in between what she does.
Exactly, to me, and this makes
it's the subtle stuff, the facial expressions, the body language, the random hair flips that just make her seem like such a bitch.
Well, that's why, and I gotta say, to me, that's what makes Sasha such a throwback to some of the great heel champions I grew up with. I mean, the first that comes to mind, I'm sorry, I have to say it, heel Triple H in Evolution. Because Triple H, when he knew he would push an opponent too far, he would get this look on his face. I remember his feud with Kane, and he was in a match with Rob Van Dam.
I mean, if you want to talk about Triple H with facial expressions, look no further than his first match with Undertaker when he hit the tombstone and only got a 2 count.
Yeah! But then, his whole, heel championship history, again, his whole feud with Kane, he was having a lumberjack match with RVD, and then Kane comes out at one point. He's choke slamming everybody, and this is when 3-minute warning was still around. And then he choke slams Rosie and Jamal, and Triple H just get this look on his face like, fuck. Yeah. What am I gonna do? And he was clutching that title to his chest. And that's how I feel like Sasha is with the NXT Women's Championship. That is her life. Yep. She would rather give, a limb before she gives up that NXT Women's Championship.
Well, she worked so hard to get to it, too.
Exactly. That's what I love about Sasha. She's so old school in that regard with how she carries herself and how she puts her babyface opponents over. But I'm still curious about the reception at TakeOver Unstoppable because, again, Becky Lynch, you can't even really necessarily say that she's this full kind of white meat, so to speak, babyface. She's tainted in her own way. Are they going to side with Sasha? Or are we going to see some...
You know what, though? After tonight, I think that she is pretty clear-cut babyface.
Yeah, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Because they really told her story tonight, and, she might not necessarily get along with the Baileys and Charlottes of the world, but I think that the crowd is going to be much more receptive of her. And I think that works in both her and...
Sasha Banks?
Yeah, I'm blanking. Both of their favor.
Yeah, and you know what? I think at the end of the day, I'll give it my seal of approval. I have been intrigued for a while about what a babyface Sasha Banks with that championship can do. But she's so good as a heel that no matter how long we stay there, you're not going to hear a peep out of me. So this is a really well done segment.
Absolutely. All right. Up next, we had 3 things right in a row, and the first 2 were backstage sort of videos, and the third one was the match and the main event match. So first we had Alex Riley, and John, you absolutely loved this, so I'm going to let you take the reins on this.
Pretty much just Alex Riley talking about, his career and, how he's always taken risks because that's what the people wanted. His first risk in 2011 when he left his boss, The Miz, to venture out on his own. That's what the people wanted. Then when he left commentary, he had a nice commentary on NXT, but then he left it because everything Kevin Owens did, and he felt like the people were responding to him standing up to himself, so that's what the people wanted. And then when he got in the ring with Kevin Owens, because that seems like what the people wanted, despite the fact that, he lost. But then, more or less, he says, then I got injured. I got hurt, and that's the worst thing that happened. But that's not even why I'm mad. It's not. What has me upset is that, the final minute of after I got powerbombed on the ring apron by Kevin Owens, I heard something that disgusted me. Thank you, Owens chants. And I was a part of that. Just want to put that out there. But thank you, Owens chants. And then the final shot was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn! You know, when I'm the one that got hurt over here. And he says, so for the first time, you know, I just feel like the risks aren't even really worth it. And then the best line of this whole thing, it's like he knew that I might as well just pay Christmas forward now. You're not going to see Alex Riley for a while. Oh, the euphoria. It was absolutely amazing. Now, only if Zack Ryder could cut a similar promo. I just, we'll get there. We'll get there. But thank you, Kevin Owens. You beautiful, beautiful man for providing for your family in the most violent way possible. But, yeah, I think, you know, who knows? Heel Riley, what that's going to turn into. Maybe somebody will be close to beating Kevin Owens. I don't even necessarily want to say Sami Zayn because I don't think it'll be him. But then Riley comes out and he costs him that. And he'd be like, oh, wait, you wanted this man to beat Kevin Owens? Well, I'm tired of listening to what you want. And we get heel Riley versus whoever could have almost beaten Kevin Owens or something. That's kind of how I see this going. I would just prefer to him, you know, to go back to commentary and then have Corey Graves troll him for the rest of his career. So, yeah, how about that in-ring return you tried pulling off, Alex? Huh, Alex? Alex? And, you know, just doing all that.
Hey,
but, yeah,
hey
we're
Alex.
gonna...
Hello? Alex. Hello? Is anyone
you know,
home?
You know, that whole powerbomb on the ring apron. How'd that feel, Alex? But then, of course, Alex Riley could be a douche and then be like, I don't know, Corey. I mean, your career was abruptly ended. How do you feel? And then, of course, I'd be mad at Alex Riley. So, best, I guess, not to take the chance. We're still going to have to deal with Alex Riley anyway, so none of this conjecture even matters, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, just a little.
So, anything you want to say about this, or can we move on?
No, I'm just. I think I enjoy this most through you.
Yeah, nice.
Because I really don't care one way or another as far as Alex Riley goes, but just knowing how much you absolutely thrive on his pain.
Me and Kevin Owens shared that laugh when he got the powerbomb off. It was like
I could tell.
We bonded in that moment.
Oh my god. Alright, well after that though, we had this freaking woman. Oh my god.
Oh.
Donatella Versace herself. Oh, I'm sorry, Dana Brooke.
It physically pains me to talk about this woman. In fact, when you were talking about it, I was just kind of stomping like my feet on the floor. I don't want to talk about her.
I don't wanna.
I really don't wanna. I don't wanna because it sucks. Because she's gonna be pushed so fast. She's already
gonna be.
Bailey.
How about already has been?
Oh my god, what happened to the system? Like, she's already beaten Bailey. She's called out Charlotte already.
Distraction.
Well, yeah, thanks to Ashley, she got the freaking win. How many times do we say by hook or crook? You can't take it back now because it's Dana Brooke and we don't like her. I know you want to. I know you want to. We can't.
I mean, what happened to Heath Slater's huge push after he pins freaking Seth Rollins?
Well, you know what? He wanted the Intercontinental title, and WWE just laughed at his hopes and dreams, and they took a shit. I don't know. What I do know is
something happened to Dana Brooke.
Well, I'm hoping, but she just called out Charlotte, dude, and Charlotte's gonna have to go.
Charlotte's not even the champion anymore.
Well, do we want Dana Brooke to go after the champion instead? I mean, I want Sasha Banks to smack her down as much as the next person, but I'm starting to get scared. I'm starting to get scared that Dana Brooke is next in line.
No, she's not allowed. Bailey's next in line.
Well, yeah, but for how long? Dude, I don't even know anymore. The point is...
Bailey is next in line, and then after her, Dana Brooke can have the title for like a minute.
A minute, and then Becky Lynch can have it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But, yeah, she called out Charlotte, and I'm just like, no. And you know that Charlotte's gonna put Dana Brooke over on her way out because she's probably like, screw this place, I'm going to Raw. Yeah. She's gonna focus on the Divas Championship. And look, Charlotte, I love you, and I'm happy for you, but why? Why are you leaving us with this? All we did was say that Sasha was better. Are you really going to do this to us? It seems like an overly excessive response. I don't know.
I mean, if Sasha Banks has a 9-month title reign, Dana Brooke winning the title will, I mean, I won't even be able to complain.
Look,
just because
man.
it's Sasha Banks and she's been on such a good roll.
Dude, here's my thing.
I feel like it's like karma. Like you have to take the crap with the good.
You know,
but I don't want to compromise that for NXT. NXT, not the main roster. There shouldn't be compromise. It should all be awesome.
Look, I wish I could be as emotionally mature as you've been with this situation. You know, talking about karma, but I'm not gonna lie. If Dana Brooke becomes NXT Women's Champion, I won't physically do it because I don't want to denigrate the integrity and the prestige of this podcast, but mentally, in my head, I will host a new segment for NXT TWitWoW called Is Dana Brooke Still Women's Champion? And it's just going to be yes or no. And this is inspired by...
Believe me, that's a physical thing that's happening.
Yeah, because we'll just...
And we would have done the same thing for Mojo Rawley or Bull Dempsey if they would have won the NXT title.
And believe me, folks, it won't be drawn out. It'll just be a simple yes or no. And this is actually inspired by my I have friends in Australia who hate their prime minister, and they have a website called Tony Abbott is the Australian prime minister, stillprimeminister.com, and all it is yes, and then they're still waiting for it to change to no. So yeah, I would almost even want to create a website. Is Dana Brooke still NXT Women's Champion? And then it would be yes, and then it would just be me crying in a corner. Because there are just so many other women. It's not even about the fact it's Sasha Banks, even though, yes, she is ultimate. I would take Becky Lynch. I would take Alexa Bliss. I would
take Alexa Bliss, yeah. I mean, I don't even like Alexa Bliss, but I prefer her to Dana Brooke.
Here's the test, though, Ashton. Here's the real test that I think everyone needs to know.
Carmella?
Would we take Carmella?
Yes.
Wow. See? That's how bad Dana Brooke is, people. Would we take Blue Pants?
Oh, my God, absolutely.
Okay, well then there you go. Yeah,
that's an easy one. I'd take Blue Pants before I'd take Carmella or Alexa Bliss.
Right. So yeah, you know now, people. You know now just how bad Dana Brooke is. That I mean, actually,
you literally run through the entire roster of women that are or have been on NXT and list them in order from favorite to least favorite. And I think Devin Taylor is at the bottom of that list, and then even below that is Dana Brooke.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, like, literally Dana Brooke is the person who goes home with an itty-bitty 8th place trophy and there were only 3 competitors. She's just that bad.
I thought you were going to say 7, but I guess 3 makes it sound even more devastating.
Yeah, she's horrible. She doesn't deserve my close number. She's horrible. So, yeah, she's calling out Charlotte. I officially now have stomach pain that's probably going to go undiagnosed until this feud is over. And when she wins the NXT Women's Championship, which, Ashton, I just have to say it, we have to start treating as an inevitability. It's going to hurt.
Hey, man, we thought that Mojo Rawley was an inevitability. I don't believe in inevitabilities on NXT anymore.
I wish I could be you. I wish I could have that optimism, but Dana Brooke is going to...
It seemed at one point inevitable that Bray Wyatt was going to win a WWE or an NXT World title, too. That didn't happen. He got called up beforehand.
Well, okay, yeah, he did, so I really don't mind that, but,
there's no such thing as inevitable in NXT.
I hope you're right about that, because if we have to deal with this, I'm gonna remember this conversation and be like, I tried to prepare us for it. But, yeah, I don't want to talk about her anymore, so let's move on. Our main event, right?
Absolutely. Our main event, with Finn Balor watching from ringside, which we'll learn to find out was actually a pretty horrible mistake on his part. We have Hideo Itami versus Tyler Breeze.
Look at you with the foreshadowing. I gotta say, everybody knows I love Tyler Breeze. Hideo Itami really showed me something in this match, and it really was just one moment, because we know he's consistently great in the ring. There was one thing he did. He was doing knee drops to Tyler Breeze.
Oh, I loved this, yes.
Yeah, he takes the knee pad down.
Like he's going to do this big, devastating knee drop.
But then he just jumps over Tyler Breeze and he kicks him like somebody would kick dirt away, to his face.
So good.
And he throws his arms up like, yeah, what do you think of me now? And he even, adjusted his hair. So,
he, parted his hair so that he could look more like Tyler. And then the crowd even did a Hideo is gorgeous.
Yeah, I love that, too. I'm not saying that Hideo was ever horrible in this department, but I love that he's learning really had to show more personality in ring. That is great.
Well, that's a move that he did in Japan, dude.
I didn't know that. See, I thought he busted out because it was Bree specific. Like, oh, you're gorgeous, and now I'm just treating you
Well, the parting
like
of the hair was Bree specific, but
right.
The knee spot with the kick, yeah, that's not the first time he's done that.
I love it,
He
though.
did that in his match with Danielson in ROH.
Yeah, see, I was not aware. But it definitely...
that match together. It was amazing.
You know what? I think... Have I ever seen that? I feel like I've seen that match when I used to do my Wrestling Classics commentary series. When I used to do my voice over the original commentary and commentate matches, I feel like I called that match. I called one match in ROH with
nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was I may still have those. I don't know. But this isn't about me. Itami, I love him, though. Like, even though it wasn't Breeze specific, like, it just fit everything with Breeze anyway. So, a really cool moment there. Breeze, of course, he had his usual spot where he does the stomps in the corner and the ref pulls him away. Don't touch me! You know, just always good. Then, of course, the miscue that Ashton alluded to. Itami was going for the boot. Breeze moves out of the way. Beg pardon?
The knee even.
Yeah, the knee even. Breeze moves out of the way. Itami, just Balor eats all of it. They get back in the ring. Breeze tries hitting a beauty shot. Itami ducks, hits the shotgun kick. Itami wins. Then, you know, as he's celebrating, kind of saying that he's the man, commentary building up, he's laid both men out. Breeze comes back, takes Itami down. Then, you know, Balor comes in, you know, kind of scare Breeze off. But then, you know, he's looking back at Itami, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, is Balor going to do something? And the crowd was even saying, no, because I think they sensed it was coming. And Balor starts helping Itami up, but then Breeze does a supermodel kick to Balor, and he hits the beauty shot to Itami. So even though he lost the match, Breeze
still comes out on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone looked weak in that whole exchange, it was Balor. How weird is that?
Yeah, Balor ate everything, man. He's just like, I just wanted to watch the match, man.
Speaking of Balor, I just wanted to say, if you are a male and you ever question your sexuality, whether you're straight or gay, Finn Balor is apparently the litmus test, because I am a confidently straight man, and I don't get what's going on with all these guys, but I see more guys on Reddit talking about how, like, here's a comment, 99% of the time I'm convinced I'm straight, then Finn Balor in a suit comes on my screen, better call my mom.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the old Roman Reigns thing where he used to just like one flip of the hair and half of the men on Reddit would swoon.
Yeah, I never, you know, that's always interesting when that develops, you know, and it's always been Reddit, oddly enough, when you tell me about that. But yeah, I'm loving the build to the triple threat. Balor does, you know, have an amazing look.
Apparently Wade Barrett is in that category as well.
That honestly doesn't surprise me. Yeah, like, I could have called that one.
Even the host of Podswoggle, Chris Mullet, like, he and his wife have a list of people that he's allowed to cheat on her with. And Wade Barrett's on that list.
Wow. We're going places right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love all three guys in this matchup. Balor's already had his matchup with Owens, but I would not mind a rematch, especially with the Demon in tow, because they made a big thing about that. Itami,
that's true. Oh my God, you're right.
I know, right?
You're so right, John. Oh
I feel so right to be right, but Itami has never had his match. Oh my God, this is spiraling out of control. He's never had his match.
Your face is spiraling out of control.
Oh, can it work, man? Show some decorum, please.
All right, bad news. Put the gavel down.
You put the gavel down.
Put your face down.
Oh my God, we are about to do something right now. But Itami,
bring it on, ecstasy.
Oh, called out. Can I finish my promo review? Whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
God, I just don't want to laugh anymore. Itami has not yet had his match with Owens, so that's always intrigue. But because of this, son of a bitch right here with his face jokes. Oh, Breeze versus Owens could be so amazing. This is how you build it. And of course he gives us something brilliant, because God forbid he ever gives us crap once in a while, and now all of a sudden all I think about is Owens Breeze. I mean, we want to talk about these men having a sexuality problem. I'm a little concerned that I'm getting aroused by the prospect of Owens Breeze. So my God, let's just get there, all right? Let's just do it.
So you're a match sexual, huh?
Yeah,
You get a hard on from really awesome sounding matches.
you know what? It doesn't shock anyone. No. So let's process the information and move on.
Well, I mean, there's not really anything to move on to, because that was,
my
that
ass,
was the main
there
event
is.
segment.
Yeah, high spots and low shots, nothing to move on to.
Well, I meant on the NXT review.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, you're right there.
Yeah. Thanks.
High spots and low shots. My low shot, besides me for laughing so much and succumbing to the pressure of your face jokes.
Hey man, it's entertainment. If we're entertaining ourselves, other people are going to enjoy it too.
Oh, I hope so. But my low shot is Finn Balor. Because way to get punked out right before one of the biggest matches of your NXT run. I mean, getting back in that title picture. Holy crap, he ate everything tonight.
Well, that gives me an easy job. My low shot is Enzo and Big Cass.
They didn't even get a chance to compete.
No, they didn't even get a chance to do their shtick and cut their promo.
I know, everybody's...
Murphy, the biggest heels ever.
I know, right?
And even more so in our eyes, because we freaking love the mechanics and wanted to see them compete too. What the heck, Blurfy?
Way to leave me deprived, NXT, and more specifically Blurfy.
Yeah, if I ever have a child, his name will be Blurfy.
And he's gonna have to live with that shame for the rest of his life because of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. You're such heels.
But my high spot is also incredibly easy. And I wanted to kind of bring it down because, you know, obviously they deserve it. Becky Lynch had a great night tonight. Why
did you say they deserve it?
Well, really, she deserves it, but really the whole of the women's division, specifically these two, were so good. But I want to spotlight Becky specifically, because I could cheat and I could be like, oh, both of them. But you know what?
Go ahead, John, I have plans.
Beg pardon?
I said, go ahead, John, I have plans.
Right, you know, but I mean, Sasha already knows how great she is. My validation means nothing to her, as it should. You know, because I'm just a peon in her universe, and I humbly accept that role.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch just really, I think, came into her own tonight as a contender. Like, we were already
as a character, even.
Yeah, as a character. It was such a great night for her, and
I'm glad that she's toned down the hair swinging, too.
Definitely.
She's down to one.
Down to one, yeah. Which is good enough for us.
It's like that blonde. It's like that blonde streak in Seth Rollins' hair. Like he could have gone full blonde, but he just wanted that little, little tiny bit to remind him of what could have been.
But yeah, Becky Lynch, great night tonight. Has got her NXT Women's Championship opportunity. Let's see what these two women can do with it. I hope they steal the show. I really do. So, who is your high spot?
Well, since you kind of, in a roundabout way, did end up taking both of them. My high spot, because I like getting creative, is frickin' Rhyno.
There you go.
Because he absolutely destroyed Bull Dempsey, who no more than like 5 months ago was a real contender. And he called out the lone wolf of NXT. And it's going to be one of the most interesting matches on the live special.
Absolutely. I completely agree with all of that. Nothing more to add. So is there anything else you want to say about NXT or just anything else?
Who would have thunk Rhyno was going to be in an interesting match in 2015? In a developmental show for WWE, of all things.
I know. It seems like a perfect role for him. Like, part of me would be mortified. Actually, all of me would be mortified if these same circumstances were taking place on the main roster. Because, like you said, it is a developmental thing, and I fully expect Rhyno to do the job for Corbin here. It's a great place for him to be. Are
we going to do preview and predictions on the Tuesday before the live special, like we normally do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done it before. I'm certainly game to do it again.
Awesome sauce. Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's close out. This was fun.
All right, guys. With that said, this has been NXT.
Longest NXT review ever. We went over an hour 10.
Holy crap. So, yeah, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What did you think about the Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks contract signing? What did you think about the Michael Cole sit-down interviews with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? Really, just tell us about your favorite match or segment from NXT tonight. Be sure to take your musings over to TWitWoW, an amazing pro wrestling group. A lot of NXT lovers there. NXT is the place to be, so you can kind of revel in all that. Or, again, if you want to keep the conversation to Team TWitWoW here, me and my cohort and commentary. Ashton's created a TWitWoW subreddit for that. You can talk to us about whatever you want, retaining to pro wrestling. So, with that said, guys, we will see you again for our Monday Night Raw review, where now that the fourth element to the Payback main event has been added in Dean Ambrose, how exactly is Seth Rollins going to get out of this one? Until then, tune in and peace out.